And this morning here on BBC Radio Gloucestershire, we're hearing how the county once again at the cutting edge of development and new skills. This time, it's rugby referees. Yes, the Rugby Football Union has recognised there's only one place to get that voice of authority to make players toe the line, and it's right here in the county. They've teamed up with the University of Gloucestershire. International rugby referee Christophe Ridley and Tim Wood, who's a Premier League football assistant referee, are the first in residence guiding young match officials aged 16 to 25 across all sports. Christophe, who's a graduate at the university himself, took up refereeing after injury cut short his playing career.
I turned to coaching and I started to coach for a year until I met a chap called Chris White, who just so happens to have refereed a semi-final of a World Cup, bit of a legend in refereeing circles. And he said to me, well, coaching isn't just the other option, isn't the only other option. Actually, refereeing is a secondary option as well. And actually, the beauty of refereeing is that you're not sidelined. You're still in the mix. You're still in the middle. You're still performing. I'm coming up to, I think, 100 games soon in the Premiership. I'm about to referee South Africa against Scotland. So it's gone quickly, but that's sort of my journey in short. I was a player. I turned into a coach. I realised there was another option, refereeing. And this support structure at University of Gloucester was in place, which allowed me to do some academic work and become a better referee at the same time. Our goal really is to make sure these young people continue enjoying what they're doing whilst getting better and enabling games to continue week in, week out. I value the journey because I've been there. I realised the gaps that it filled for me.
Well, joining me now is former international referee Chris White, who's behind the programme. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Morning. Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to another weekend of busy rugby.
Yeah, I'm sure. I love the idea behind this, and I love that it's happening here in Gloucestershire as well. So how did it all start?
Right. Well, about 20 odd years ago, I just started I was on my professional career, and we were looking around at, I was helping the rugby club at the university, talking about how the rugby club could help the university and vice versa. And somebody said something about, well, this is the football scholar, this is the hockey scholar, this is the swimming scholar. And I said, well, where's the referee scholar? And everyone laughed. And I thought, well, need to do something about this. So about a year later, Matthew Carley, who I think he's on the line tomorrow for the All Blacks A against Munster with another one of our old scholars, Anthony Woodthorpe. He came along and he was our first scholar. And in the last 20 years, we've probably had about 80 to 90 young people who've done their normal degree. I say, and to mention Woody yesterday, Anthony Woodthorpe, he did geography. I think Matthew did education and sport. So he became a sports teacher before he became a professional. They're both professionals now. So people came along, they did a degree, and they joined in with our scholarship. What we're looking to do now, John, is to expand that scholarship beyond just the university. So we're now reaching out across the region to all sports and all referees. Young bracket is 16 to 25 is where we're aiming for, and that's what we've launched this year.
All sounds really exciting. It just shows the time that's gone into this and how it's changed over the years as well, and how you've got to the point where you are today. The thing that really intrigues me with this is the sort of psychology behind it and what you're letting yourself in for by becoming a referee. Was that in your mind when you went through this and you were getting into it yourself?
I was 17. I was at the grammar school. I call it the grammar school. It's Pates now, and we were told not to play rugby on a Saturday. So that was the beginning of my story. And Cheltenham Saracens Thirds, who've just celebrated their 50th anniversary last week, by the way, they were looking for a referee. And I was talked into it at the age of 17. I thought I was talked into it. My father was a teacher. I borrowed his whistle, and off I went to Burrows playing field and referee Cheltenham Saracens against Evesham Thirds. That was my way in, but I continued to play. And I went to university, continued to play for about 10 years. I did both. I played and I refereed. And that's one of the messages that we're passing out to people is, look, you might be 16, 17, you might be loving your sport, whether it's football or netball or rugby, but give refereeing a bit of a go, see how you get on. And then when your career you decide to, for lots of reasons, move away from playing, refereeing is a real option for people. So that's one of the things that we're encouraging people to do, to be what we call dual athletes. So that was my story. And 10 years later, I put my boots away, or the rest of them dropped me anyway, and I put my boots away and I started refereeing. And probably the best thing I ever did, I think, looking back.
And is that what you're finding then? Very often perhaps people don't necessarily think about doing both until later on, and it's important to think about it when you're a little bit younger, perhaps?
100%. And what we're doing now is we've got a couple of activators in the program, Ben and Emily, who our intention now is them to start going out to schools and going out to local clubs. We've got a few links already. We focused mainly so far on this program of getting 8 what we're calling Super Thursdays, where we're inviting people into the university, and we've had people from Exeter, Oxford, Loughborough, as well as the local area. But now we're looking to reach out into local clubs and schools and saying, look, we'll come and talk to you. We'll come and talk to you young people. We'll talk to the players, and we'll start that little spark, that bit of thought in the background. We're not going to say stop playing. We're going to say, look, the under-14s haven't got a referee on Saturday or Sunday. You're playing on Saturday, you're playing on Wednesday. Maybe you can be that person who can go and help out. And what you often find is the young people are really connected. They're really, they really understand the game at that level, and they do a really, really good job. It's quite interesting. I've got 4 rugby scholars at the university at the moment, and I asked them all yesterday, how many games have you done since August the 1st? And they all came back with their answers. They're on 100 between them, 100 in 3 months. Now, if you sort of add up the numbers on that, if you say there's about an average of 30 or 40 people in every game that's played, they've probably reached 4,000 people already in 3 months just by going out and doing that. So it shows there's a need, but they absolutely love what they're doing. They want to get better. They're a team themselves. And that's just one example of where there's, first of all, there's a need, but also they love it. They absolutely love what they're doing. Yes, it's difficult. One of them had a job interview the other day when I was asked to do a reference, and the reference said, have you ever seen this person challenged? And I thought, yeah, 1 minute past 3, 2 minutes past 3, 3 minutes past 3. And we laughed about it because these young people are picking up fantastic skills as well. If you think about communicating, managing people, making decisions, being their own analyst, being their own coach on the day, because they're not always there with someone telling them what to do. They're meeting people, they're traveling. These people are extremely employable. And that's not the reason they do it, but it's interesting when they go for job interviews, they have a different experience. I think once people start asking, what do you do as a hobby? And off we go around the world, basically. And I don't know if you're interested, but this weekend's a great weekend for our alumni. The ones who've been, what they're doing this weekend. I mean, I sometimes don't appreciate it. I spoke to Jade, who was with us. She was with us about 3 or 4 years ago. She's running the line for Spurs and West Ham in the Women's Super League this weekend. Wow. Carly and Woodthorpe, they're off to the All Blacks A against Munster. They're the 2 touch judges. George Selwood's actually refereeing the Gloucester Hartbury game against Gloucester, the men's game tomorrow in the Premiership Cup. And then you've got George. George is doing that one. Ben Simpson's doing the women's game, and Andy Wigley's doing Nottingham and Coventry. So these are all people who've been through the university. They've come out the other side, and now they're having great careers. But it's not just about them. It's about the people who are out there doing it locally, supporting all our local clubs and schools. So it's great to be involved with, John. Really good.
It sounds really exciting. I can tell that you're obviously so invested in this as well, Chris. But really good to chat to you this morning. Thank you for joining me, Chris White, former international referee behind the programme, along with others. And as Chris says, you could be getting a visit then to your school very soon as well, as they reach out and try and grow this even further.